And Andalusia Marine, located in Andalusia, Alabama, your express, all-wheel stick steering, Polarcraft, Starcraft, veranda pontoon dealer. One call heating, air, and refrigeration, Mr. Stephen Dubb, air conditioning guy you can trust. RMC Mechanical Contractors, located in Chelsea, Alabama. Give us a call for all your industrial contracting needs. Styler Arms, located in Bessemer, Alabama. You can also pick these rifles up at Simmons Sporting Goods. That is a Steyr Scout in that picture. I've been hunting with a pro hunter for about 30 years, guy. One of the finest rifles made. Pick one up today, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Alpha Plumbing, Mr. D. Robinson. He's been with us since day one. Call him for any of your plumbing needs, a plumbing guy you can trust. CT Ward Power Sports, Camden, Alabama on Highway 28. Your Excel center console, side console, golf your pontoon, Hustler Lawnmower, and Mercury and Yamaha service dealer. Power brakes. If you want to get your total boat control under control, get you a set of these. Give old Chad Clifton a call, www.mypowerbrakes.com. All right, everybody. Good to be back, man. We missed last week. I had to do a little work, and I'm glad to be back, man. I got John and Jessica back with me, and Tim Pentecost Fishing and Shilo Chappelle up there. I guess we got a lot of catching up to do, but first things first, Shilo and Tim, how did y'all do that? Did y'all raffle off spots, or how did y'all do that? Y'all can go into detail about it, and y'all can draw that, and we'll draw the winners of those guide trips for y'all. So,
Tim did all the work. Tim, you did all the work.
I had the idea.
Go ahead, Tim. Tell them what you did, bud.
We sold 50 spots for $25 each, and
that's awesome.
They a lot of people just they wanted to help us, and so they bought spots for the drawings. So we're gonna give away 2 guide trips.
That's awesome. One with you, Tim, and one with Shilo. Is that correct?
That's it.
That's good stuff.
Tim, explain to everybody why y'all did that.
Yeah.
We was raising money for our Alabama Crappie Trail tournaments this year to help out, and every little bit helps. And Shilo come up with the idea to raffle off some guide trips and raise some money for expenses and all. So it worked out good. We sold them all.
That's good. That's a win. So somebody's fixing to win a trip for $25, basically.
Yep.
That's the other thing. Like, some of these guys can't afford a full trip, so when they throw in their name in the hat for $25 to go fishing with Tim or I on Weiss and Neely, they're gonna get a trip of a lifetime.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I mean
it's Weiss Lake or Neely Henry, so you can do either one.
That's good stuff. Hey, you get ready to draw it, we'll draw them, and then hey, you're picking 2 winners, Tim. Is that correct? There you go.
Oh, we're gonna go ahead and do it right now.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We'll get this behind us. Go ahead, buddy. Hey, get it out there.
All right, I'm gonna say the first trip's gonna be with Shilo.
There you go. First drawings for Shilo at Weiss or Neely Henry.
Y'all ready?
Go ahead.
I loaded these up really good. Chris Creemans, he's went on a guide trip with me before.
Chris Creemans. There you go. Hope he's watching. If not,
can y'all see that?
No.
Barely. We barely can see it, Tim.
Say it. What's his name again?
Chris Creemans. CRE.
We got it.
We got it. Good. Did good else. Chris Creeman. You want a trip with Shilo? I guess you need to message Shilo and
we'll get a hold of it.
Got you.
All
go
right.
ahead.
Trip 2.
Ready?
Go ahead, Timbo.
The mayor of Leesburg.
Oh man.
Chuck Tomlinson, number 2.
You know him, Tim?
I do know him.
Good.
Chuck, I know that name. I've seen him on there before.
Good.
Let's
do if y'all will just message Tim and let them know that y'all found out that y'all won. It's nothing to do with Shane or I, but I mean it'll help them. Sometimes things and you don't know that they want it. So message them. Now Shane, I gotta tell you something funny.
Go ahead, bud.
First day of the tournament this past week, they were announcing Tim and I for blast off, and I think he said the mayor of Leesburg, Tim.
Oh man,
it was pretty cool.
That's good, man. So we got a trip. Chris won a trip, and then what'd you say the second guy's name was? Chuck?
No, I'm not. Chuck Tomlinson.
Good look. That's
Sure
good.
Pronounce Chris's last.
You might not.
Cremens.
That's a hard name to pronounce. Hey, hopefully he's tuned in. Hey, you won a guide trip, so that's awesome, man. That's good stuff, guys.
But fortunately, for the listeners, there will be another trip given away this show. We'll wait a little bit later in the show and see. We'll try to peek out on listeners, and Shane's gonna give away not only a trip but 2 rods.
Yeah, they're actually, look, guys, they're if I don't knock it over here, John's favorite Fat Man pole right here. 5-foot Outlaw casting rod. Great little rod. Me and John's abused them. I've been on trips with him. Great rod. And then I don't have the whole thing put together, but if I don't knock stuff over, this is a 14-foot Outlaw. John and Jessica's fish, they have mounted on the wall. 2 3-pounders come from this rod.
That's right.
It's a 14-foot. Man, the action. We had these at the expo. I think we sold every one of them we had, John. I don't think we brought any of them home, but somebody's going to win these 2 rods, guys. And the guide trip with me is sponsored by Alpha Plumbing. I don't know when we're going to draw them. I got a bunch of names, and we're blessed to have a lot of people. I probably got 250 names I've got to put in a hat. I mean, that's a good problem to have, and I appreciate every one of you. So we're going to try to draw them probably at the end of the month, 1st of December.
Oh, I thought we were doing. Oh, it's going to be okay. I thought we were doing that. Oh.
No, Lord, no. I ain't wrote all them names out yet. Whew, got a lot of names. Hey, guys, if you scroll down Shane Jones Fishing and go down there and you find that video you need to share it, because I'm keeping up with it, so I can go back. That's the big giveaway. But John, you can go ahead and talk about the other giveaway that's coming up. You know.
So we're just to give everybody a heads up. We're gonna start giving away an Outlaw 5-foot crappie pole, the 5-footer that Jessica and I love dearly, every other week. So if you're listening, there it is right there. So when you're listening, somewhere during the show, Shane and I are going to say, right now, we want to hear fishoutlaw.com, www.fishoutlaw.com. If you will post that and send us a screenshot immediately where you posted it to your normal Facebook page, www.fishoutlaw.com, and you post it to this show, the first one that does it will win the pole, and it'll ship directly from Outlaw. Shane and I won't be involved. It's going to ship directly from outlawpoles.com. We're doing that every other week. So if you'll just tune in, you got a chance to win a pole every week. Well, every other week. But we're going to start it. Next week will be the first one. And, I don't think we're asking much. If you'll just send us a picture of where you posted, www.fishoutlaw.com. I mean, it's going to take you a little bit. You'll have to be ready.
You're going to have to type in. You're exactly right. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, but we'll know that you're listening to the show and you're posting one of the people that are good to us. And I think I think it's going to be fun to see who could be that ready to post it and be the first one to do it.
Yeah, they're already practicing, guys. They're already practicing right here. That's awesome. Hey, that's the way it's going to go down. Hey, it's going to be kind of random because this show's an hour long.
Yes, Carl, Dustin, thank y'all for doing it this week. Next week will be the first week that we're going to do it, and you'll have your chance to win it. And once you win, you can send Shane or I your name and address, and it'll ship directly from Outlaw. We're so excited about doing it. And I was talking to Mr. JR, who owns Outlaw Crappie Poles. He was excited. He wanted to do something to help CrappieKast and promote it. He said, "Well, don't you think a poll or something like that would get people?" I said, "Let's not only do that. Let's make them or talk to them about doing something that will promote you. I said, well, during the show, we'll say, all right, promote this, the website, and that's how we'll do it. So you got to be listening. You're gonna have to be active and live in the show. The first one to do it, and we might, we might do Shane. We might like the first week. We might do the first one. Then the next one we might do the third or fourth one.
We can always count down the comments, guys. That's right. That's exactly right. And it's going to be random. We're not going to do it the first of the show. Might do it the middle or the end. I mean, I think it's going to be fun, guys. Those. What are those rods retail?
The rods retail for right there about $50. Look. Tim's got Zoe, girl. Look at her. She's a beautiful, beautiful dog.
Oh, pretty Doberman. That's right, man. We got a lot of people tuned in here, man. I appreciate it. Let's say hey to everybody, and then go ahead, John.
One time you're a best friend.
Do what?
I said, you ever pet her? One time you're her best friend.
Yeah, you're done. You got to pet her.
That's awesome, guy. We got a lot of people tuned in. Let's say hello to everybody. Keith Spencer, Jess Pratt, Ronnie, Morgan Neal. Hey, buddy. Corey had his first PT today. He's trying to get that chicken wing out of that sling. I went and visited him Wednesday. I seen him all slinged up. Tim Maddox, Ricky Dunn, Philip Dotson, Blake McDaniel, Buddy from Tula, Omaha, Tennessee. Tula, I can't pronounce it. Appreciate you tuning in, Buddy. Melvin Sassero, Uncle Mel's on here.
Uncle Mel.
Chris Collins, he's on here. Colton Todd on Lost Creek Custom Rods is tuned in. James Trott. Rodney Tallywhacker Guide Service. He's got a funny name. I seen him at the expo. Oh, man. Byron Weiss, congratulations to him. Didn't he just won a tournament? Didn't he win that Peach State? Yeah.
Yep.
He just won that. Congratulations, Byron. Dace Giddens, William White. Hey, buddy. William White, he's fired up. I think he's going to pick up a new boat tomorrow or this week.
I think he texted me today, said he went to pick it up. It's either today or tomorrow.
He's a nice fellow. My buddy Tommy Randolph, Tommy's sitting in the promised land about right now down in Florida, buddy. He's next to a lot of fish. I'm jealous of that. I mean, I guarantee you. Nathan, appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead, John.
Jessica.
I want to hear about this past week.
Yeah, we fixing it. That's right. So I'll go into a little background of it. John.
We're gonna get into that, but I need to talk a little bit about something I'm doing tomorrow.
Go ahead, buddy.
It's gonna be interesting. So Tim and I were up there at the tournament that she's talking about, and Amos and Livingston and Mr. JR that owns Outlaw Crappie Hole, they said, we want you to go out and take several poles and go out fishing with them and do a video. So I took 5 of them. So I did the start of the video this afternoon, just showing poles, So in the morning, I'm headed down south to Florida, and I'm going to take each pole and I'm going to catch a fish with every pole, and it's going to be a part of a video. I've talked about the poles. Now I'm going to go out and fish with the pole. It's going to be pretty neat. I'm going to go from the 5-footer all the way to the 14, and I'm going to do a video and break down what you can do with each one. So now I might not go out and catch crap, but
I know where you're going. You're going to catch the fish. I know somebody's been doing a little recon down there. So.
Yeah, I feel like
exactly.
All right, so we were talking about the tournament. Just said about the tournament. Shilo was the big dog between all of us. He got third, and he whooped all our butts. And we're proud for him. Congrats. We have him on the show time. And go into the tournament. You gonna be the highlight. Me and Tim gonna be the low light because we didn't.
let's tell everybody where we are. Like the guys there at Old Hickory in Tennessee.
Right side.
The Midwest Crappie Alliance tournament. I said that correctly, right? Yeah. They put on a great tournament because I heard you said that was a good tournament. Everybody said it was a great tournament. So, yeah, Shilo fish with you fish with Zeke Reynolds. Is that who you fish with?
Yeah.
And then there you go. We're going how you approached and everything.
Super well organized tournament. The flow of it went well. They did a lot of good things. It just
both years, last year and this year was really good.
Yeah.
130 boats.
130 boats.
130 boats. They had 140 pay. And I will say this, Tim, you fished last year. Where they struggled at last year, they excelled. They took all the feedback from last year. And
oh yeah, they fixed everything.
They fixed everything. Like there's not a single flaw in that tournament whatsoever this year. So hats off to them for.
That's awesome, man. It
wasn't bad last year. Last year you just we had so many launching places because none of them was big enough for everybody. So we had 3 launching places last year. But that's really the biggest thing. And we had plenty of room this year. Didn't have to worry about that.
But anyway,
I like your shirt, Shilo.
Thank you.
Yeah, look at Shilo. Yeah, he sure is. So we're going to let's go into practice, Shilo. See how you approached Old Hickory Lake, and since you come in third, go ahead, bud.
When I got there, I took the same approach as I have all fall, is dirt shallow. I was going to go fish shallow water. I wasn't going to go deep, and it bit me in the tail. I found 2 little areas with some shallow fish, and I'm talking one of them was 2 foot of water, and the other was 6.5 to 5 foot. Other than that, I fished 18 to 28 foot of water all week long. And all I was catching was whites. But in the Midwest Crappie Alliance, you have to play strategy. So your first 2 days is accumulative, and then it resets to 0 Saturday. So where I found my bigger fish up shallow, I didn't want to leave them too far because I wanted to see if anybody else had found them, because I found them early in the week. And I found some bigger whites out deeper in front of them. And I kind of figured the cut line for Old Hickory was going to be 8 to 8.5 a day. So 16.5, 17 pounds can get you inside the fish Saturday. So, and I felt comfortable I could do that. I went out and I caught some 150s, 160s earlier in the week, deep, 22, 23, 24 foot. And I was long on them. Finally, all fall long. I know John's going to crack a smile, but I was able to use a 15-foot rod and just drop down on their head that deep, catch them. It was great. It felt good. The shallow water fish, not so much. You had to cast at them. So I was able to, Thursday, we kind of spun out a little bit in the afternoon, but we had, I think, 8 pounds on our scale, which was respectable. I thought it would get us in the cut, which we were sitting at 19th. Day 2, we had quit fishing at 10:45. We just started looking. We had 9.5 for, I think, 9.20 on my scale. I'm like, we're fishing tomorrow. There's no reason to keep burning them up. Let's just go looking, marking. We did that for about an hour and a half, and we went and weighed in at, I think, 11:45. I think John and Tim got there, and I was probably sitting up at the stage eating a burger and fries.
Yeah, let's before you get ahead of tell everybody you're using a 15-foot rod. What setup are you using to fish that deep?
I was running a 1/2 ounce, my 15-foot rod, 15-pound fluorocarbon. I was running 2 different baits all week long. I still have the bait I used Sunday through Saturday.
God.
And most people are going to look at that and be like, what is that? So that bait there is supposed to look like that there. 64th ounce gray ghost by Pops, pegged. I had a 1/2 ounce weight about 10 inches above it. And then the other bait I used was a 24th ounce jig head with a 1/2 ounce weight up above it with the Margarita small fry by Crappie Monster. And that was the 2 baits I used all week. Once I figured they were eating it, I didn't take it off. Why change if it's working? So I ran it even up in the shallow water. But that's how we fished. I was dropping straight down on their head, pulling them up out of the brush or the stumps, getting them to eat, just getting them in the boat. So fishing clean Thursday and Friday was a big deal.
So you got a lot of strategy involved there. Like you said, you added your first and second day's weights up, and then the third day it was all clean slate, right? Isn't that what you were saying?
Yeah. So Friday afternoon, we had, I said 9.20, but we might have had right at 9 pounds on our scale. And I told Zeke, I said, let's go check just one little shallow spot, see, make sure the fish were there. Because after I found them Sunday, I never went back and made sure they were there. It was just they were there. So we slid up there Friday and caught a 140 and left. It was a black. It was the only black I weighed in Friday. And then Saturday, we started the morning slow. I think we had 8:30. We had 7 fish for 4.5 pounds. So
Sounds like us, John.
yeah,
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. I promise
So
you.
about
Hey,
10.
Old Hickory, you know, I knew it was tough because
We'll
John and go ahead.
Shilo finish, and then me and Tim will get in the show.
There you go.
The funny part was John and Tim and we talked kind of all week, and I would, they would call me and say, you still love this place? I'm like, no, I hate it. This is dumb. I'm fishing fish that are 20 foot deep and praying they live. But we Saturday at, like I said, 8:30, 9 o'clock, we had 4.5 pounds. And I told Zeke, I said, it's time. We're gonna go burn them fish up. And we slid up shallow, and our first two fish was a 180, a 160, and I think we caught a pair of 130s.
Oh man!
Within 10 minutes, and I even sent a picture of John and Tim in our group, and not John and Tim, our whole group chat. I said, talk about an upgrade, and it was like a 0.6 with a 180. So I think it put us. We left there with like right at 9 pounds. We went and upgraded a couple more times in the afternoon. It put us up there in that upper nines, which I didn't think would pull off for third, but the more I was thinking about it on the ride back to the boat ramp there was only 5 weights Friday over 9.5, and Saturday with all the boat traffic. I was like, man, we might be doing something here. So
That's good.
Good time. But I'll let John and Tim kind of break down.
Yeah, first of all, before they get started, John and Tim, they kept sending me brim pictures. Is all I got, and I was like, there was some big brim now. No, and John was saying, we're smoking some brim, and I was like, hold on, man, you're supposed to be catching some crappie. What's going on? But
for sure, in the lower end of the lake, John and Tim, I know they kept staying down there in that lower end, and I'm like, I got halfway towards the boat ramp from where I was fishing and just was checking some secondary channels. I sent Kevin Bean the waypoints to those brims. I was like, go catch them all, because there's seriously 50 of them the size of your hand on one stump. So that's
crazy.
I knew I had to get away from that. I'd sit out there all day catching them suckers.
So John, Tim, y'all going to y'all's week. They're fishing Old Hickory also. Shilo coming third out of 130 boats, which is impressive. Congrats to him. But John, y'all go on to y'all's approach and what you didn't find and did find, and tell everybody.
Tim, you want to go first? You want me to tell it or?
No, go ahead. You're better explaining stuff to me.
So
I can show you, but I can't.
I can tell you what Tim was doing. He was eating snack cakes in the back of the boat all week.
I really did limit Tim to his snacks. His snack count was low this week. Because normally, you put as many snacks you put on the boat for Tim, they're done. I mean,
he wouldn't take me to the dollar store.
Yes. I can't wait to the dollar store.
Hey, John, every night when you get off the water, can I go to the dollar store?
I had plenty of beef jerky and square cakes, as we call them in South Alabama. So he had square cakes and beef jerky. But, no, so I'll just be brutally honest with y'all. Tim and I got there, and we had a plan. We both talked about the things we wanted to do, try to be successful, and we did all those things. And in the first 2.5 days that we were there, we maybe could have weighed in 7 fish out of the first 3 days we were there.
Oh, I knew it was tough.
What I'm trying to say to everybody is it's not always easy. You can take all the electronics in the world, but you can't make it. You can't make the fish be there. And that's where we were at that point. So finally, what flipped the switch for us? I can't remember to make us try something different. What did I say, or what did we do?
We tried bluff walls. We tried 35 feet of water, because when we got there, we was fishing 10, 12, 15, and stuff like that. And so I was thinking Dell Hollow.
Yeah,
maybe it's not that nightmare again. And
I don't want to interrupt you.
We went and looked real deep just to see. And,
yeah, I don't want to interrupt y'all, but that, I made it look easy, but that was probably one of the hardest pre-fishing tournaments I've had. As far as searching, because and John, I know you've seen it, Tim, you've seen it. It's not like you pulled up on a stump or a brush pile and there were 15 fish there. There was 1 or 2 in the entire pile. The pile was 20 foot long, and you had to, really look at that pile and see where that one fish was sitting and hope he was a good one. and then you don't know, like, anytime you come back to if there'd been another fish there or not. So it was one of them deals that it was tough.
So I want everybody to hear this, really, really hear this. When you look at a score sheet of what happened for a tournament, you don't realize what went in to make that person get to that spot. So, albeit that Tim and I fished, and we fished our butt off, we had 37 hours in practice and scanning, and like, I'm not trying to be like toot my own horn, but I'm pretty dang good at side imaging. I can find stuff that a lot of people don't believe. And we worked our butts off looking for stuff. And we were at the end of 3 days, we were scratching our heads. We didn't know what to do. But I said, Tim, like there toward the end, I said, let's go to some comfort zones, like areas that we know we can catch fish. Let's go to that 10 to 12-foot area and find some stuff that we can fish and weigh in 7 fish. And that's basically what we did. I mean, we went way up north, like we ran way up as far as everybody did up north, and we played around up there. We went middle, we went creeks, we went ledges, we went everything we could do. And finally, we found some stake beds where we could bang a jig through, catch us 7 fish to weigh in. So what we were doing, and this is terrible, it's totally against what you do nowadays, fishing tournaments. We would take an 1/8 ounce jig and throw it over a stake bed, and it might be in 10, 12 foot of water. We'd make it fall on the other side of the stake bed, and we would just bang it down through the stakes. All right, so you got bluegill up in this upper water column. So the further south you got, there was like bluegill days, and you couldn't get a jig down through the bluegill to get onto the crappie. And you couldn't see the crappie because of the bluegill. So Tim and I realized, hey, we got to do something to make us weigh in 7 fish. So we would take that jig, 1/8 ounce jig, and throw it on the other side of the stake bed, make it fall, and we just bang it down through those stakes, and you feel a little bit of pressure difference, and we would pull a crappie out of there. There was nothing to do with seeing anything on live scope. There was nothing to do with anything. We could have thrown a buoy marker on that stake bed and done the same thing without live scope. There was a couple times that Tim and I, we spot locked, and I was like, all right, there's a stake bed. Let's just keep banging through these stakes and just pull 7 crappie out so we can have 7 crappie to weigh in. We were that.
And you might cast 10 or 20 times before you catch a crappie,
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I've never ran into that scenario. I've never ran into that where it's either a bunch of brim. I've never ran into a scenario where there's both, So that's crazy.
On the south side, you could not get a jig down to the crappie because the bluegill would pick it up. So Tim's like, well, screw that. We'll put it on the bottom. We'll just bang it through there. We donate so many jigs.
I said, I'm going in.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but I'm going deep. I said, yeah.
I said, I'm going in.
But guys, they're sharing tips to y'all because I'm telling you, I've never ran into that scenario. It's either been a bunch of brim and you could feel them, hitting your jig. But these brim, they were catching guys were bigger than your hand, so they was eating that jig. They were catching them.
Yeah, they were huge brim.
See, that's crazy.
But it reminded me a lot of Dale Hollow because when we was there, as far as the brim, because when we was there, we was catching shellcracker and brim. If you could get your jig down below them, I mean, they would hit it before you get your jig or minnow or whatever you use.
I think
at Dale Hollow, and they were huge.
But I think what helped me a lot at that tournament was Cumberland. I fished it 2 weeks prior. A lot of the stumps and the brush piles we fished on Cumberland were full of brim. And you have some of the times you're like, I don't know if that's a crappie or a brim, but you're setting the hook anyways. So it's just, you get used to what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And I know down here we're not used to seeing, especially on the Coosa River, you're not used to seeing that many brim on the top of a stump mixed in with crappie.
Well,
no.
Well, day one we had a couple stumps that had some fish on them, and I feel safe to say that one of the stumps we probably weighed 4 of our weigh-in fish off of one stump, and we were hoping it was going to reload for day 2, and we might change stuff. And it didn't. We kept trying to go in there. Somebody else was in that slough. We didn't want to get invade on them. They finally came out and went and checked their stump. Nothing had reloaded. So I was like, all right, we're going to go bang these sticks again. So now, but you got to understand your comfort zone, you know. So if you're going to drop in and drop to the bottom on the stake bed and you want to bang it all the way through them, you don't want to be real deep. And the wind was a big factor. And Shilo can tell you this. The wind was blowing probably 12 to 18 first 2 days of the tournament. So we were having to stay up like close enough that we could like throw on the other side of the stake, bang it through the stakes, and then just pull our fish out. At about 1 o'clock on Friday, we didn't have 7 fish. We barely had 3 pounds of fish, and we moved to a shallower inside point, and we started picking up fish again. And we got rid of the stuff we had, but we still had 2 point. Now I'm not saying 1.7, 0.7s in the live well. Well, you can't be competitive with 0.7. So we had 2 130s and a 182, and then those 2 0.7s. And I can't remember what the intermediary fish was, but you know, if we could have ditched those 0.7s, you know, we move on the next day. But you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, you can't do it. But we left one. We had one stake bed. It had a hen in it. When I say a hen, a big girl. She was in that bed, and Tim and I did everything that Tim. He guides and he fishes all the time. I fish a lot. We tried everything we can do to get that big fish to bite, and we couldn't get her to eat. It would make a difference.
John put his long pole down there on it, and it would just move out of the way.
So
man, so somebody weighed in. So what was a big fish? 293, John?
293. It's caught
293 was a big fish in that tournament. That's what I.
That was a rare jewel, but
that
big fish in that one pile. She can't. Tim said, we can't blow them out. You can't scare them. Just get on top of her and just set it on her. And I set it on her and we got her nose up one time.
She moved out of the way.
I said, Tim, get in the net. Get in the net. I said, she couldn't do it. And then she said,
oh, yeah.
And then I think I got her to come up or look at a jig casting, and that was it. She would just move out of the way. It was crazy.
John, how many fish did you mark, like in a stake bed that you've seen? You're like, this is a good fish. You come back to it tournament day, and they're still there.
Oh, we felt good for 4 hours one day, and the next day it was like, God, they're good.
Tim had a rough week, but them two stayed positive. And
they said they had a good time.
By Friday.
It's hard not to be positive with Tim in the boat.
We were threatening to get to Seminole before we
one of our our mutual buddies was sending pictures from down there in Seminole. I'll go into I ran into it Saturday, and this will be a short story, guys. I've been getting pictures from the river, Tom Bigby, the Warrior. People's been just sending me tailgates full. I'm down there struggling. I have 10 or 12 fish, and I'm sitting there just disgusted. And I was like, you know what? I have this big Helix 15. I'm fixing to turn it on and see what I can see. And I could hear John talking to me, cutting up. I was like, man, I'm going to turn this thing on. And I stopped where I've caught fish in the past, found a group of fish, and I was like, man, it looks like a group of crappie. I thought I was seeing things. Needless to say, I started catching. I caught 25 fish, stopped at another tree, caught a couple 2-pounders, and I caught some more. I was like, there I go. I was disgusted too, and I just got lucky and found some fish. But those things are tools, and you got to use them. You can't make them bite now, but
I had a fish on Old Hickory all week. I wanted to see what she weighed, and I went to her 4 times pre-fishing. Could never got her to fire.
That, don't we, buddy?
Oh, I knew where she was. I had her pinned. She was in stake bed. But I pulled up Friday in the tournament day. I said, she ain't bit all week, but we're going to give her hell. See what happens. We slid up on that stake bed, and I dropped down with the 64th, and she come out of there on a string and just nosed up to it. I'm like, all week long, I try to get you to bite. Now you want to eat? And I think it was like a 152. But I think that was our last fish when we quit fishing Friday. It's just, I was like, we're done. There's no reason to keep doing this. And we actually just went through and marked the brush piles that had better fish in them all day Friday. And we ran on Saturday.
I got a funny story to tell. I don't normally smoke like the electronic cigarette, the nicotine, All right, so he's always the electronic, the ones you can buy at the store, the electronic cigarette, right? So first day I did really good. I didn't buy one. I was like, hey, I didn't buy one, but about the end of the second day, I was like, if Tim's gonna keep smoking this damn electronic cigarette on the boat, I gotta have my own one. So,
what does it smell like? Cheerios or something? I hate people that got to taste Cheerios and tricks and.
Tim's always got green apple or
see, that'd make me hungry too.
Yeah, so we went out to dinner that night, and I said, Tim, let's just go ahead and go to the store. I said, we might get two. So we go to the store. You get like a super discount. I bought me 2 of them, and I was like, that's cool. So the rest of the time we're practicing, I'm smoking my electronic cigarette, and Tim's smoking his, and we're all happy. Well, the first day of the tournament, I was all focused. I did a good job. I was running the trolling motor. My head's right. The second day, we got in a bad wind, and I guess my head was like out of it. Tim said,
"Well, the current was pulling us one way. The wind was weird. It was weird the way it was."
And Tim said, "Hey, bud, you think your electronic cigarette's dead?" I said, "I'm screwing up, ain't I?" He looked at me. He's like,
get your fix. Let's go.
I mean, that's the positive way to say to your fishing partner. You say, buddy, you're not in it.
You're stinking it up. Let's go.
Emma throw those silent comments at you from the back of the boat. Like,
all I said was, "Did you charge your mate?"
Yeah.
It's called a mate. Is that what you said?
Mate.
Oh. Hey, man.
I was like, okay, I know I have not smoked that something in like 30 minutes, so I need to get my head back right. About that time, I said, Tim, you know what? You remember those stake beds on the inside of that bend down there a little bit further? I said, let's go to it. And it flipped the whole strip for us. The second day, it made weigh in 7 fish. I mean, we didn't, we didn't make it to day 3, but it'd been a lot more embarrassing if we hadn't have done that.
Yeah, y'all come in what 30 what time? What'd y'all come in? 33rd out of 130 boats. I mean, at a tough tournament. Hey,
and that wind was ridiculous. I will say that.
But you found those magnolia crappie. I mean, on the way to one of the ones we had marked. We didn't even know it was there until you found it.
Yeah, I did. Got that tournament side imaging helped you more than you can realize.
See, John, it's funny you said it. I didn't side scan, but maybe 2 creeks the entire week. I put the troll motor down, put it on 8, and just went. Because in fish, I couldn't tell if them fish were in them piles on side scan or not. Because I wasn't looking for 20 of them. I was looking for 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I was focusing on travel corridors, where the channel swung up against, a flat. I don't know if that's what you were looking for or not.
We was so scattered during practice, we had finally decided we need to just focus on something and go with it. And
after I found them shallow fish, I went and I put a pattern together on those deeper whites, which it was the channel bends in 20 to 25 foot of water with 40 foot of water close by. And a lot of people asked me if I found fish roaming, which I did. They were down 26, 27 foot laying in the mud. I was pulling them up out of the mud. I specifically remember Zeke Tuesday. I caught I think it was a 140. It come up off the bottom. He said, "That's not crappie." And I said, "I'll prove you wrong right now." And I dropped down there and caught it after about 10 minutes of following it around. But it was down there 27 foot of water on a channel swing.
That's a great question right there. William White asks, how fast do y'all move when you're side scanning? I'm glad he brought it up because
the slowest my boat will run is 3.6.
I was about to say I side scan 3.5, 4.
Yeah, that's the slowest my boat will run. Hey Tim, the white moon over Apartment Slough just tuned in.
I don't even want to know, dude.
The white moon over Apartment Slough. You'll know what I'm saying. Did you hear what I said?
I'm trying to think.
That's his lost face.
No, I said,
Full moon.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm still traumatized over that. That's why.
yeah, these sloughs, like one of the sloughs had some apartments in the back of it, and we called it. Me and Tim didn't know the name of it. We just called it Apartment Slough. I said, "Are we going back to Apartment Slough?" So, I mean, but we had a damn full moon ride by us in Apartment
Yeah.
Slough. And
Oh,
homeowners upset, but it was funny.
It was a full moon.
It was,
somebody mooned y'all while y'all was fishing. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Dude.
It came by us probably about 8-10 miles an hour.
Oh, it was slow. Oh, you got a good look at it then. Didn't
Yeah,
want to. That's awesome. William, if they answered your question, but he said 3.5 mile an hour, 3.5 to 4, John. Is that what you're saying?
oh, the
Side scan?
slowest my boat will run is 3.5. So you need to run
Oh,
when
without.
your side imaging. You need to put it's got a thing where you can put the travel or how fast your screen goes. You know, it needs to be at least 4 or 5 when you're running that fast. You need to,
Is that on your Humminbird, John?
that's correct.
Okay. So like my I run Garmin's. Garmin's
Mhm.
have an auto where they'll actually track how fast you're moving, and they'll auto set that. So if I'm moving super slow, it'll slow the screen down to, calibrate with that transducer. And if Cumberland 2 weeks ago for the Crappie USA, I was actually side scanning at 4.5, 5.5 mile an hour, just trying to cover some water, and it would actually keep up with me and give me those good images. So.
That's some good suggestion. I know we were talking about side scan, and everybody was,
Shane, can you pull up that question from William White? I want to touch on that.
this one right here.
Yeah,
No, the next one.
that's it.
With the trolling motor.
No,
The next one about the trolling motor.
That's how
He
I
asked
got
a question.
disconnected. I can't see the chat.
You're good. Somebody asked something about a trolling motor?
She always pulls it up on her
No,
phone.
so William White asked a question. He goes, "Do y'all use your trolling motor, or do you side scan when you're on your trolling motor?"
Oh, okay.
John,
I didn't see
John,
that.
I do not. John, I know you do a little bit, and I'll let you dive into that.
Show Tim some stuff that I told him not to show Shilo. All right, so typically,
I need every advantage on you I can get.
We kind of broke off in teams this past tournament. Shilo and Tim normally fish together, and Jessica and I normally fish together. And but all jokes aside, we'd all be willing to help each other. So Tim got to see some stuff I did on my boat this week that's kind of different than some people do. People ask about if I'm side scanning from my trolling motor. So what I can do is I take my graph that I'm using as a map up front. It's all right. So I use Humminbird for side imaging. And that's what's looking out the back, and I've got a Humminbird up front. I'm using a map, so I'll have the screen on that Humminbird up front. It's looking at what the back of my boat's looking at. So I can see my side imaging up front while I'm still got my screen for my Garmin, so I can see the side image, and it's half of it's side imaging, half of it's my map. So if I see something out of the back of my boat, I can still swing around. And Tim will tell you there were several times that we saw brush piles and stake beds. I would say, "Oh, there it is, right there," and I'd have to swing way around on the right side or left side, and I saw it while I was in the front of the boat, but it was what my back of my boat was seeing.
Your back transducer.
Right, and
Okay.
it might me running out 100 feet to find it, but we found fish and we found stake beds while we're in the front of the boat.
Now, John, I will say, have you ever seen so many stake beds or brush piles in one lake?
I'm telling you, there's hard-working men and women up there putting those things out. I applaud them.
Two of the guys that we kind of hung out with through the week, Zeke and I, Dude Maddox, Brian Odom, live on Old Hickory or live close by within 10 minutes of it. They put over 300 brush piles and stake beds out since this summer till off limits.
Jeez.
If that tells you how much work is put in just for that one tournament.
Tim, can you possibly explain what I was talking about the front of the boat, being able to see it up there on the graph. I don't know how it's explained. I tried to explain what the
when we were up there looking at live scoping a brush pile or something, a lot of times John would say, "Oh, there's one right over there," and he would see it on his side scan while we were looking at something else with the live scope, and he would spin around and look at it or whatever. That's the best I can explain.
I got you. So what they're doing, guys, is they're looking forward with a live scope at a brush pile, and John's got his hummingbird linked to his rear hummingbird. So when he sees something out the rear transducer, it may be 100 feet out to the right. He knows to turn the live scope towards that way and go find that brush pile. So I don't say he's 360 him, but he's 180 and in the back off his transducer looking at his front screen too. So he's multitasking. So
yeah, he's good with that thing.
I think John, since you're showing Tim all these secrets, next time you and I need to fish together and Tim can fish.
That's a good tip, guys. You know, a lot of guys run the hummingbird below their Garmin or a Garmin below a Garmin to use it for their maps. And if you have them linked together for your rear transducer, you can look at the side scan and not miss anything. You could be looking 100 feet with your trolling motor zigzagging back and forth, and then looking down at or one guy could be looking at the side scan, as you're moving, because a big stump might be loaded, and that's a great tip, John. So.
Hey, Shilo, Tim and I got through a curveball when we first got there. The bait up there would blow your mind how big it was. So when Tim and we dropped in, and I'm on the side imaging because I love side imaging. I said, "Damn, that looks like a big school I said, "That's got to be a school of crappie." And we drop a point on it, we whoop around, we go into it. Hell, there were schools of skipjack. They were huge. There were schools of big bait. Like I said, "Dang, we might spend the whole time just chasing them schools around." Hell, it wasn't schools of nothing but bait.
Yeah,
really, just big hickory shad, or what are they? Skipjacks, or?
Dang, that was it. Everything was big up there.
They got a little bit. They got a little bit of just a little bit of everything for forage on the Cumberland River. I mean, they got
we were fishing the steak bed. Go ahead, sorry.
There's skipjack everywhere. I think day 3 we caught 4 of them fishing shallow, which I didn't catch any all week. But as soon as we went shallow, we started catching them. So that told me right away. I'm like, well, I know where Tim and John were fishing. They were fishing 12 foot of water or less all week.
Yeah,
because they were catching them every day. The other thing we really had to sort through were the drum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There were so many drum in that, John, and I know, Tim, you guys seen it, in that 1.5 to 3 pound range, that they look like big crappie. They do to everybody that's fishing.
We caught some weighing fish in a school of drum, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just had to really.
It's interesting how they hang out together, drum and crappie. People don't realize that. And carp and crappie do the same thing. They just cruise along with each other.
And what you don't realize is those carp, they're so big, they're casting shadows. They're casting shade. Fish don't have eyelids, so those crappie are sitting under those fish.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Use them for shade, and but the drum and crappie hang out so much because they're really alike. I mean, they are. They use the same structure. They like the same panel bends, and I always say if you find drum, crappie are nearby.
True, they're feeding on bait also. That's a good tip.
Tim and I were having a real bad day one day, and I saw a drum, and I knew exactly what it was. And I had that 14-footer in my hand. I said, "You and I both know what that is." I said, "You know what I'm about to do, don't you, bud?" He said, "You better catch that damn drum." So
we had to have something pulled on the line.
Yeah,
you had bowls where you just had to catch something.
I drop in on this drum, and sure enough, the drum just noses up, just perfect. Comes in. I mean, puts on a good show. We had a big time catching it, and things like that break up your day when you're getting like in a low slump. You know what I'm saying?
How many times How many times you go out there and just catch them bluegill just to do something?
Hell, I got a pictures of me and Tim doubling up on them bluegill.
That's the ones I got. That's what I got early in the week. They had double brim. I was like, hey, man.
You get so tuned in to side scanning channel edges, flats, and everything else. You're like, I need to do something just to get my head to clearly think again. So you go out there and catch the fish, and you go back doing what you're doing, and you're able to get up, stretch your legs, move around a little bit.
Some of those steak beds, you can cast a jig on it, and you can pull every brim on it off.
Oh,
yeah. It sounds like if you like to brim fish, Old Hickory's your lake. Yeah, if you like to brim that,
everybody talks about going to Nicky Jack. Y'all can just let that damn Nicky Jack go and drive up to Old Hickory. Forget about that Nicky Jack. Just come on up to Old Hickory.
It's brim capital of the world.
I got to tell a funny story though. I had to fire Tim's phone. I didn't fire Tim. I fired Tim's phone. So we're going out to eat, and I said, pull up, the steakhouse, Logan's. I said, Tim, pull up Logan's Steakhouse. He's like, I got it, bud. And so we had a friend of, Shane and I. If somebody calls us and asks us to help on electronics, we try to help. We had somebody call during that time frame. Tim and I were both trying to help him with electronics. Hell, we kept driving and driving. I said, we're going to Logan. I said, Logan Steakhouse, right? He said, yeah, we're going to Logan. What? I see, turn here for Opry Land. I said, put us into Nashville Logan Steakhouse. We get all the way from Hendersonville, Tennessee we had helped somebody with electronics long enough that we had driven from Hendersonville, Tennessee to Nashville, Tennessee, and we went to Logan's in Nashville. I said, well, hey, we fixed all.
You can't make that up, and that's part of the adventure, man. I mean,
there was a Logan's 10 minutes from where we were.
We were over the electronics.
They done give up on Old Hickory. We're going to fish Kentucky.
I know. I talked to Eric Cagle. Hey, they had just as hard a time as you do, but Patrick Stone had I heard Patrick Stone in the background. I can't quote what he said, but he goes, I will never. You can see in this country be back to Old Hickory ever.
I'm deleting everything.
The one thing about that tournament trail though, it was on Old Hickory, which was tough. But next year, the drive to Ohio.
I've seen that. It's going to be off the arm of the Great Lakes, right?
Almost
Lake Erie, Sandusky Bay. No one's fishing it. No, it's one of them deals like this. They're putting new lakes on the map for us to go fish. So I enjoy it.
And that wind gets up there. Woo.
Oh yeah.
We're just gonna ride.
I've got a buddy of mine that used to be a walleye guide up there. I'm sure he can tell you all about it. He used to guide up there. So.
Shilo, you my buddy. I'm gonna send you a donation to go back and fish.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm gonna need.
We'll cheer you on from Alabama.
Damn right.
No,
what I'm calling that tournament.
That's awesome.
Like that trail,
You know what'll probably happen though next year? We'll probably say, "Hey, let's go fish that."
Yeah.
It's new water though. Like.
Yeah, I understand. The Shiloh's it's a challenge, and the Shilo likes the challenge of breaking down new water. And heck, that's
okay. I challenge everybody that wants to pay me and Tim to go up there and fish.
Hey, these guys right here will donate money just to make y'all go fish that. You know that, don't you?
Hey, donate it. We'll go up there.
Hey, y'all, please, we'll start that next year, guys. Hey, starting of the year, we're going to take donations to make John and Tim go fish the arm of Lake Erie in Ohio.
John and go fish Sandusky Bay.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know
if man.
Have thick enough clothing to go up that far north.
Hey, I already good fat coat going on already. I just got to put on.
It might be 50 degrees. It might be 20 degrees up there.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm like Shilo, man. I seen where they announced that. I seen the Midwest Crappie Alliance Facebook page, and they were talking about it. But
I can't. They got a tournament there this weekend. One of their clubs do, which I'm gonna be watching to see kind of what it takes because it's gonna be the same next year. But It's different, you know. Like they said, next
Yeah.
year you're not going to see water deeper than 6 foot of water in Sandusky Bay. It doesn't get deeper than that there.
Yeah, y'all gonna be hitting that big water, y'all.
Hey,
I've been reading that they have big turnouts out there on some crappie tournaments.
They do.
Well, that's probably the reason why they're going up there. So,
yeah,
let's see.
Go over that Lake Talcott tournament that's coming up.
Yes. Let me get the name correctly, guys. Before I talked to Mitch Blunt and Scott Williams, and I was hoping to get this right.
Professional crappie. Let's just get it all right in the verbiage.
All right, guys. Professional Crappie Anglers Association. They are putting on a tournament, Lake Talcott. The details you can look at. They got a Facebook page, guys. It says days 1 and 3 you can use live scope. Days 2 and 4 you're gonna have to troll. No live scope. You can't use live scope. So there's gonna be a 4-day total. And I guess it's a cumulative weight. Cumulative 4-day weight wins the event. They're gonna have a big fish, but all you guys that like to troll and you talk about tournaments, don't do it, and forward-facing sonars ruining the game or whatever. There's your chance, guys. 2 days trolling, 2 days live sonar. So
what again, Shane?
it is. Let's see right here, guys. It is
second weekend of December, right?
Yes. Practice days are December 2nd through the 5th. Tournament days are December 6th through the 9th.
Tim. I'm going to say this. If somebody's looking for the partner of all partners to the long line, and
there you go.
Work on those fish bouteilles. Tim Pentecost, hire him right now.
It's interesting.
It's a cool format. It's I think the entry fee is $750. They've got, if you look on Professional Crappie Anglers Association's Facebook page, they've got the breakdown of 30 boats already, what it pays. And everything. They've done a real good job of putting that information out. But Lake Talcon's a fun lake. So.
Yeah, Talcon's one of those lakes that you don't have to be trolling on days 2 and 4 either. You can go.
You can mark. You can side scan and throw a buoy out and cast. Yes.
You can go pitch a cork at those lily pads or those docks and the marinas too as well.
Exactly.
As we learned this past week, the second place team was fishing 18 feet, 18 inches of water.
Right.
So, but here's the deal: everybody's been fussing about forward-facing sonar taking over all this. Well, you know what? Half your days, find you somebody to fish with.
There you go.
Go fishing. I mean, I'm proud.
I'm fixing to share it on this fishing page, so that way it'll be on there. So.
I hope they have a really good turnout to start the tree.
I hope they do too. I mean, there's guys, like I said, there's
I want it for Mitch honestly came to us. He said, Mitch Blunt, he said, hey, I want this to be successful. That way that, I can get back to some of my old school stuff that I was doing and enjoy it again. I mean, that makes sense. It's kind of like when you go back to going back slip bobber fishing or fishing a cork like you did with your granddaddy or whatever you did that made you feel like you did when you were younger.
Right.
You get to give that a little bit back where you're not now. You're just like, oh, I got to go around and look for this big fish, with this forward-faced sonar.
Exactly.
Hey, I don't have that right now. Let me go back to a little bit more of my fishing. You know what I'm saying?
I just shared it on my page, so.
That's kind of what the Midwest Crappie Alliance is trying to do too. But they're not going to eliminate forward-facing sonar, but they're putting it on lakes that it could be won off a stump row or off docks or casting at riprap. Top shot in deep water.
Hello, do you ever shoot ducks?
I did last week.
What did she say? What did she ask?
She asked if I ever shot
ducks. Shilo, do you ever shoot ducks?
Hey, say it for the ones in the back that didn't hear.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Jess. I did this past week. We caught 2 of our wayfish Saturday underneath the dock.
I got a question here before we get off here. Is there any special tips or things to consider when fishing a lake that is currently being drawn down to winter pool? Hey, there you go, Tim. Weiss Lake's being drawn down as we speak.
Official edges, any stumps and stuff on the ledges.
To go into detail.
We don't have any. We've got some good. We've got some decent crappie inside the creeks and stuff right now, but the river ledges, anywhere on the river ledges, there's crappie everywhere.
To base that off, Tim, to break it down a little more, look at pull your maps up, look at channel bends, where them fish are going to congregate. Anywhere they can ambush guys coming over a bend or a break.
There you go, Jacob. Hey, if they're pulling the lakes down, they're going to go to where their winter spots. So,
Hello, so they're bringing Lake Neely Henry down. Where would you think that those?
They don't have no choice.
So the tournament's what, the 17th? I'll let you know the 18th.
18th, yeah. I think the tournament's the 18th. They got a trip. They got a tournament. Alabama Crappie Trail does, and Neely Henry on the 18th of November.
Neely Henry looks like a creek right now.
But to be honest with you, that tournament's going to be a real interesting tournament. See what those fish do, where they go, and where they go, where they're coming from. So,
that's awesome.
That one's going to be. I think you'll see some big weights at that one for 5 fish.
Oh yeah, let's recap what we did here, guys. We've been in here an hour. Tim and Shilo gave away a guide trip today. A trip with Shilo, a trip with Tim. John announced Outlaw Rods is going to be giving away a 5-footer and a 14-footer every other show.
No, a 5-footer every
5-footer and a 5-footer. I'm lying.
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself. A 5-foot rod, excuse me, every other show.
You better give me fire.
Yeah, and sorry, but we're also giving away a guide trip with me, a 5-footer and a 14-footer. Now I can say 14-footer, guys. Giving away 2 rods, Outlaw Rods. That Alpha Plumbing bought a guide trip, 2 rods. He said, hey, give it away. We're going to give away the 1st of December. So, hey, we're all about giving. JR's been good to Tim and Jessica and John, and hey, he's going to throw a little 5-foot rod out. It's right here. Several people have got this casting rod. John and Jessica, this is all they use casting. It's a little 5-footer, little fat man rod. I've used it several times. I've got one over there on the wall. Go ahead, John.
Sidebar. I'm doing a video tomorrow. It's going to be something special. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
John, you're going to go out and not catch a fish.
John's going towards Sneed, Florida. He's going towards Sneed, Florida.
You remember Old Hickory was supposed to be a slugfest.
Yeah. Can we just touch on this before we get off the air? Tim, what did they tell us before we got to go there?
Yeah.
The fish is a lot like wise. It's going to be a slugfest.
Tim thought, oh, man, I got it made, yeah.
Hey, I ain't going to lie. It did fish a lot like Weiss with them channel bends. It really did. Just not near as many fish.
That's awesome, man. We had a great show, guys. It was good seeing everybody again, and John and Jessica and Tim and Shilo. This hour flies by, guys. We didn't get into a lot of questions, but we did. John and them. Shilo went over his tactics, how he placed 3rd out of 130 boats. John and Tim went over their techniques too, and how to catch brim and aggravating crappie. But hey, guys, all kidding aside, they had fun, and that's what it's all about in the beginning. You don't really, I get aggravated as anybody, not catching any fish, but sometimes you got to sit and take a break and smoke your electronic cigarette or, hey, whatever you need to do, and get out there and, sometimes somebody's got to say, hey, man, what would you do if you didn't have this or you did have that? That's what it's all about, man, having fun. And we try to share as much information. You're not going to get a lot of information like this, guys. What these guys are sharing, and John and Jessica, is all coast of chain, Alabama, Georgia. You can, and North Florida, you can repeat everything they say and go find fish in these areas. That's what's good about this show, guys. It applies to a lot of listeners, guys. Even in Tennessee and Old Hickory, they just went over all that. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And John, y'all finish up what you need to say, and we'll.
Yeah, bottom line up front, we wouldn't have Shilo or Tim on if they do the same thing we do. If you've got a question, look them up on Messenger, message Shane or I. We will answer your questions. We have plenty of testimonials with that happening. We will help you in any way we can.
Yes, sir, we will.
We're trying to help people, and we have good people on for a reason. And Shilo and Tim will do the same thing. And
Exactly. Shiloh's running guide trips. Tim's running guide trips, guys. Message them. John's making a video using 5 different rods, so we're gonna hold him to it. We're gonna see that video. I know where he's going.
no pressure.
No pressure. Hey, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna tell you what to do or not to do after my trips this weekend. I promise you that. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. I hate we missed last week, but y'all made out for it. I think we had 100 people on here one time tonight. So.
And Mr. John Baker, I missed my hug this past week.
Hey,
Shirt's on the way.
John Baker, shirt's on the way.
Oh, that's right. Mailing the shirt.
John Baker came in, what, 5th or 6th? Hello, what Baker?
Yeah.
Fifth.
I knew he was right there when he dumped his fish in the behind because he weighed in right after us. He dumped his fish in there. I was like, oh crap.
That's awesome, man. That's good.
One of the biggest things I learned last week was to never say it's got to get better. It can't get any worse.
That's awesome, Tim. You're 100% correct.
I kept saying to myself all week, as John says, it's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
That's exactly right. It's supposed to be fun, right? You don't want to turn into one of those those ditch pickle fishermen because those bass guys get like that. They get a little sideways, because they didn't get a jerkbait from Japan, in the mail in time and stuff like that. So, but hey, you get out there being competitive. But we'll end this show. Thank you, John and Jessica.
Y'all stay on.
Yeah, y'all stay on, Tim. We'll cut up some more, guys. You get us 4 together. We're gonna cut up about some stuff. I'm glad we didn't go live before this thing opened up because, hey, believe it or not, guys, we're live and it is hard to shut that switch off. We're having fun. We're cutting up, and it's not G-rated at all. We have a good time, and we got to give each other a little grief and stuff. But thank y'all again. We'll be back. Hey, we're going to film a in-depth series Tuesday, John and I. We can talk about what he's doing tomorrow, catching those fish and stuff. And we'll be back next Thursday live. Thank all y'all. I think we had 100 people tuned in at one time tonight. That was awesome. Appreciate y'all. Y'all stay on, guys.